Identifying.
The king of cakes. Chopper for the win.
G'day guys, welcome back to Cakes by Chopper. Today we have Bumblebee from the Transformers movie. I made this for my niece's birthday, so happy birthday Bree, I'm glad you loved your cake. What you're going to do guys is head over to the Cakes by Chopper Facebook page, print off the template. I made this template from a fridge magnet, believe it or not. You're going to cut it out, place it on top of your two cakes. I've used the Devil's Food Cake recipe, which you want to click the annotation above if you want the recipe for that. It is delicious, it's one of the best cakes I've ever made. Cut this out twice and you're going to stack it up quite high. And then you're going to level off the cakes so you get a nice, smooth, flat top. Then you're going to give it a filling of ganache or buttercream or whatever cake filling you would like. This is up to your taste, so there's no set rule on what you fill this with or what you cover it with, as long as you've got the cake covered, ready for the cake topper. Once I've done the filling, I go through and give it a crumb coat, which is going to lock in all the crumbs for when we put the outer coat on, so you get a nice smooth finish. Unfortunately, with my white chocolate ganache, I used a gel food dye, not realizing that it would make it go grainy and weird. And unfortunately, I had a deadline which I needed to have this cake made by and ready for her party, so I couldn't go and remake this. It just had no time. So I worked with it as best I could. It still tasted great. I piped off a little border around the top and the bottom, ready for the fondant cake topper, which is what I'm making here. I rolled out some yellow fondant, cut out the entire shape of the car, which included the wheels, which we'll come back to later. And then I used various pieces of fondant to sort of puzzle piece this together. I cut out some black and glued it on for the windscreen, just using a thin brush and a little bit of water. And then piece by piece, I've just deconstructed this car and used the template to put it together. It's quite easy. It looks way more complicated than it is. It just takes a lot of time. It's quite fidgety, but the outcome looks great, I think, because this creates this illusion of the cars coming at you, but it's not. It's this nice flat cake topper. And with any other cake topper, you can make this ahead of time. You just want to store it in an airtight container. With these pieces as well, if you look closely, you can deconstruct them and make each bit smaller. I chose to do a lot of them in big pieces, but if you're not comfortable with that, you can actually split them in half, and then when you put them on the cake topper, just join them up and smooth it out. So like that front bonnet piece doesn't need to be one solid piece. You could cut that in half and just have two little pieces and put them together. For the lights, I just made sure that they were the same color as the magnet, just following the picture and the actual magnet itself, making sure I kept all the lines nice and rigid because it is a car. The one thing that's going to ruin the look of this cake is if you soften the curves too much and you don't keep it nice and straight. I found I was constantly going back and making sure everything had that sharp, rigid look. Now for this grill piece at the front, what I did was cut it out in one solid piece, used the template to mark out where it would be, applied that on, and then went back to it later with a thin brush and some black food dye to give it the detail. That way I didn't have to cut out all these little extra pieces and it saved myself a lot of work. To give the car a little bit of highlight and shadowing, what I did was darkened up the base color yellow with a little bit of orange to give these panels that look of, it's a different shine or a reflection, and you do half the bonnet at the side and it makes it just stand out a little bit more. It creates this 3D-ish shadow effect. So as you can see, it's really effective for such a small thing. Paying attention to all the small details such as the GMC logo and the shape of the grille, the lights, and all the little lines around the edge can really change the look of it. So take your time and just keep referring back to your template. As you can see here, these bottom parts could have all been cut in separate pieces, but I saved the time by using the gel food dye. The best painting consistency for that is 2 parts liquid, 1 part gel, and I just find it paints on nice and easy. You don't have any streaks, and you don't need to use the vodka because some people have an issue with it. I find the vodka's too thin and it makes you have to go over it quite a few times. So if you don't have the time to play with that, just use the 2 parts liquid, 1 part gel. Going around your cake topper and make sure it's all lined off nice and neat. That'll give a final look. Once it's ready, just lay it out on top of your cake. Be very careful when moving it. I didn't film this, so you get to see the final product and not me actually putting it on. There you go, there's your Bumblebee cake. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My niece loved it. Bree, happy birthday once again. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for checking out my videos. Here are some more if you'd like to click the annotations above, and I'll see you next time.